Hi guys! And so I've been asked to talk about the two modalities that I work with, the unlimited body harmony and the completion process. So I thought I'd talk to you about the unlimited body harmony today. Unlimited body harmony comes from body harmony, which was created by actually a chiropractor, and he put it together with a lot of different modalities like craniosacral, the Feldenkrais, the acupressure, and then also the psychology part, to just name a few. In this modality we work on all four bodies. Obviously we work on the physical body, we work on the mental, emotional and the spiritual body. And we always look at where is actually the problem coming from. Even though it might look physical, a lot of times it could be mental or emotional. So what happens then when you come for a session? Well, obviously you can come for any problem at all, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. So let's say you have a physical problem. Your shoulder is in pain. What I do then is, well, since one of the parts of this modality is actually reading the body language, and that's what I do. You get to walk in the room, and I have a look and see how does your body move, how does the pain look in your body. A lot of times I see, that let's say it's the right shoulder, that the right shoulder is really tight and painful. But a lot of times actually when I look at the body, I can see that it's coming from somewhere else. And also all the physical problems that we have, they mean something. They try to tell us something. Different parts means different areas of your life. Shoulders, for example, is a lot of anger is stored in our shoulders, but it can also mean that we feel burdened. Now, this is not like obviously something that you should. It's always, if my shoulder is in pain, it's either I'm angry or I feel burdened. No, like it's not always like that, but a lot of times. And the same thing, like if you have a sore back, depending on where in the back it's sore, but let's say we talk about the spine. The spine is the support of your body, and so if you have problems with your spine, it could be that you feel like you have no support in your life. Feet has very often to do with moving forward, just as legs does in different aspects. Like if you have a headache or migraine, is a very often migraine is more anxiety of performance anxiety, actually. Not always, but sometimes. And when you just have a headache, can very often be that you feel like you've done something wrong. Either you didn't do something you think you should have done, or you did something that you thought you shouldn't have done. Did I say that correct now? So all different parts represent different areas in your life. And I mean, I forgot the most obvious one, which is a bit of fun, and your shoulder blades. The interesting thing that in Swedish, shoulder, well, this is difficult to explain in English, but shoulder in Swedish is if you translate it, or it's the same, pretty much the same word as guilt. Like if I translate it, it's guilt blade. And that's very often where we store guilt, in our shoulder blades. So this is something we would be investigating and see what kind of mental and psychological thoughts are actually stored in that part of your body where you have pain. I mean, if we look then at the shoulder, and then as well, different sides of the body means, like the right side is the masculine side and the left is the feminine. So let's say your right shoulder is in pain. Maybe it's that you're angry with a man. But it can also mean that you feel burdened by man, or your masculinity feels burdened, or there's so much to investigate when it comes to that. So that's something we would be looking into, talking about, investigating. Yes, that's our cat. If you heard him, I'm not sure. So after investigating, talking about that, and then also getting into the emotion of the anger, if that's the thing, getting into the emotion as much as we can. You get to walk. Again, we'd be looking at, I'd be reading your body, as reading the body language is one of the modalities within Unlimited Body Harmony. So I'd be looking at the whole body, not just the sore shoulder. I'd be looking at, okay, is there other parts of the body where it might be coming from, or that is affected by it in different ways. So I pretty much look at the whole body. And what happens for me, like all practitioners have different ways of doing it, but the way it works for me is that my eyes are drawn to the area of the body that needs to be worked on. This might sound a bit spooky, but that's the way it worked for me. And then also I help you to feel your body yourself, to be aware of your body, because the point as well of walking like this is not to walk fast and to not feel. It's to walk slowly and really feel every part of your body. And how do I feel tightness in my shoulders? Do I feel tightness in my spine? Do I feel tightness in my hips, my legs, knees? We go through the whole body, depending on. So after investigating the body together, you'll be lying down on a massage table with your clothes on, most of the time on your back. And I'll be putting my hands on that specific part that we decide to work on. So let's stick with the shoulder. So yeah, and doing this, I listen very much to my intuition. So I put my hands on your shoulder, and the way it works with this type of hands-on healing, well, actually the hands-on healing is the same touch as they use in craniosacral that modality. So what I do with my hands, I actually put all my focus in my hands, and it's like I put my ears and my eyes into my hands, and I listen to the body. And I listen, like I really go, put my focus inside, in between my hands. And what happens then, very often, is that, well, first of all, the client or you need to be to, and that's the whole part of the session as well, that you feel safe. Because if you don't feel safe, obviously we won't be able to do a good job. But as the body feels safe, as you feel safe, and we focus on that part which is sore and go to the core of the problem, it's actually hard work for the body to contain the tightness. Because what's going, like, the reason why you have the tightness in your sore shoulder, well, having a sore shoulder, first of all, it's tightness. And in that tightness, there is a wound, like in the middle of, like here's the tight muscle. And very often in the middle of that tight muscle, there is a wound, an experience that you don't want to look at, because obviously it was not pleasant. And so what the hands-on healing is actually doing is talking to this muscle, to the tissues, saying that, hello darling, how are you? Well, not really like that, but you know, listening and asking how it is, and what is the experience, what is the story, do you want to tell me, do you want to let it go? And by being there, and very often just by being there, just putting the attention on just listening, being there, supporting, the body lets go of it, because it is hard work holding on to this memory. Sometimes you might get a memory of what is actually what was causing this problem to start off with. Sometimes emotions comes up, and sometimes you get memories, pictures, you know, you name it, like anything can come up. Anger obviously can come up, sadness, frustration, and all those emotions are totally and perfectly valid to come up. Like whatever comes up is perfect. And once the body have let go of this tightness, this tension, it's actually gone. Now, if you've had a problem for a very long time, let's say you had this bad experience when you were little, and the body has been hiding, protecting this experience for a long time, obviously it's probably not gonna happen just like that for the pain to go away. You probably need a good few sessions for it to go away. So depending on how long you actually have the problem, sometimes you can get rid of the problem straight away, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But as the body lets go of it, it's gone. But the important thing though is also that you need to see why it happened, what was the thought that created this traumatic experience. Let's say that the reason why you got this pain is because, well, let's say your dad, since it's the right side, and your dad is very often one of the most important people in your life, just like your mother. Let's say he said something that made you angry. So what you need to do then is to understand, first of all, why he said what he did. Very often we walk around with anger towards our parents one way or the other. But the thing is that there are most parents, I'm not going to say all of them, but most parents, they never ever want to hurt their kids. All they do is, what they do is to because they think it's the right thing to do. They're doing the best they can with the knowledge and the experience that they've had so far. So to understand why your dad did what he did, said what he did say, and for you to understand why you reacted the way you did, and also to validate your own feelings, that it's okay for you to be angry like that. So this is a very important part in letting go of the problem and letting go of the physical problem, because it doesn't work to just work on the physical problem. Very often all problems are both physical, emotional, mental, and sometimes a bit spiritual as well. So saying, to me anyway, saying that something can be fixed, purely physical, not so often. Sure, there is some physical problems that can be fixed purely by working on them physically, but most things needs to be looked at from an emotional, mental view as well. Because the way I see it is that our body is what is the word I'm looking for? Extension of our minds and emotions. Like if you walk around with the thought that I'm weak, and you have like that thought the whole time, even though you're not aware of that you're actually thinking it, it's there in the subconscious. And the more you believe subconsciously that you are weak, the more that's going to be shown in your body. You know, the way you can look at someone and actually tell how they're feeling? Because yeah, what they are thinking is actually showing in the body. So that's why I think it is so important to always look at the mental, emotional part as well as you're working physically. Yeah, so that's how the hands-on healing work, and obviously then you work with the mental part and the emotional part as well. And as we work through that and look through different areas of it and explored it, you after we're finished, you get to walk again and feel, how does your body feel now? Sometimes you feel a huge difference in your body, sometimes you don't feel a lot. Very often people feel a bit wobbly afterwards, and that's mainly because releasing a lot of tightness in the body, that makes it's like the body needs to realign itself again, because it had this balance. And if you, let's say you have had a lot of tightness in your right shoulder, and you release that tightness, obviously this side is going to get so much lighter, and this is something the rest of the body is not used to. So it's before you actually find your new balance, you're going to feel a bit wobbly. And then what I suggest to people is when they go home, take it easy, be extra nice to themselves, and try not to think too much. Stay in the experience, stay in the emotions. Most of the time, most of us are very mental, or physical for that matter. We tend to not go into the emotions very much because, well, emotions are scary for most people. So practice going into the emotional body as much as possible. At the same time, obviously it can always be overdone, like with everything. So it's always to be okay. So ask yourself, which body do you spend most time in? Are you a mental person, a spiritual person? A spiritual person would be someone that kind of, I'm not going to say daydream a lot, but something like that. They kind of check out and they go somewhere else. Mental, someone that stays in the mental body a lot. They think a lot and analyze everything. And a physical person, they're obviously very physical, but they are very present a lot of times. Someone that's very spiritual, it's like they can more or less, and that are checking out, they can pretty much sit in a room, but people don't see them. And while a physical person, they are very here, and they spend most time in their physical body, that's where their focus is. And an emotional person, well, obviously they stay in their emotion. But also people that are very emotional, it's very easy to say that, call them drama queens. And that's not really the type of emotional that I'm talking about. I mean, someone that would be called a drama queen, that go into the emotion like that would be more, obviously, yes, they are in the emotional body, but they're using it in a not, no, I'm not going to say they're using it in a bad way, because the reason why they act like that, it's because they feel like that. And that's very important to not invalidate. Okay. I hope I made sense with this. And that you understand a little bit more about unlimited body harmony. And if you have any more questions regarding this, don't hesitate to contact me, because I'd be glad to tell you more. Yeah, I hope you have a great day, or had a great day. Take care.